What moment threw your D&D group into fits of laughter? So the DM was drawing on the battle map. It was a beach fight against some monsters, and we were defending our wrecked ship. We had a cannon mounted on the prow, and the DM asked us to help draw the map. My partner drew a cannon, sort of. It looked a little bit phallic. The dick jokes went on through the entire session. You can't go past a comedy relief voice. My group was trying to pawn adventure spoils from a Duragar fortress with a suspicious gnome who insisted on an anonymous public meet. When he started talking about criminal fencing in a Mickey Mouse voice, they had to take a several-minute-long break.
Oh, well, there's nobody better than me when you're trying to fence dead people things.
First, and sadly only, session of our Greek legend pirate adventure-themed campaign. I'm playing a lizard folk barbarian and the captain of our ship. We stop off on an island to gather supplies to repair our badly damaged ship, and we get into a minor skirmish. Now, the entire time I've been playing my character as basically scaly Hector Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean. But as I enter my first rage, I pull deep from my emo teen days and let out the deepest, most guttural pig squeal I can muster before screaming, "Crush, kill, destroy, swag!" The rest of the session went poorly because it devolved very quickly into swag jokes. So, this just happened a few days ago. We had a party NPC lizard folk that our Dragonborn paladin had taken on as sort of his student, and he was helping us fight this pack of werewolves. These werewolves were incredibly tough. People were constantly going down. Our cleric literally got their arm ripped off homebrew injury table, and Paladin told me, the wizard, that it was time to do something risky as I had been playing it safe. We just hit level 5. So, when it got to my turn, I readied a fireball and planned to blow up the werewolves. And unfortunately, the paladin and lizard folk were both in the way. Paladin was resistant to fire, Red Dragonborn, so I asked him how much he cared about his little buddy. He gave me the A-OK. Paladin rolls a nat 20 on his saving throw. Lizard folk rolls a nat 1. I roll very well for fireball, and he is one shot, instantly turned to ash. And 4 out of 5 of the werewolves saved it, so it barely hurt them. Literally the only person I managed to kill was our party NPC. I have not laughed that hard in an insanely long time. We were absolutely hysterical for a solid 30 minutes. I was playing a druid for a one-shot with my current D&D group earlier this year. There was an NPC who was a divination wizard, and he kept getting increasingly frustrated about the questions we were asking him about a murder case we were investigating, because his magic wasn't working at all in this town. Without really thinking about what I was saying, I started going on a mini rant, in character, about how not useful this wizard was being, and I said something to the effect of, "You wizards think you're all so great and powerful, what with your books and your balls and..." Immediate regret. Everyone in the call burst out laughing, including me, because I was embarrassed. I was referring to a wizard's crystal ball when I was speaking. One a divination wizard would use for scrying or whatever, but the comment very quickly devolved into ball jokes about wizards, and it was honestly a really funny moment. Some top hit quotes from that one shot are, "Oh, so now my balls sound appetizing to you? Do you have any other needs for my balls? All wizards spy on people. It's what they do with their balls." Bonus round. I'm the only feminine player in my group. That made it so much worse. Testicular torsion! When one of my Warforged players spent so much time planting this idea in all our heads that the big bad evil guy with a history of mind control had a blue smile. It got to the point that I was like, sure, his teeth flash bright blue, because I thought, yeah, cool character detail. When the big bad evil guy successfully mind controlled the Warforged a few sessions later, the player whispered, "Bluetooth connected." We died. We were speaking with an alchemist when I remembered that several sessions prior, my character had acquired an unknown potion from an uppity rich kid. So naturally, I asked the alchemist to identify it for me. Y'all, that rich kid was on Fantasy Viagra. It was several minutes before the game resumed. My DM did a Final Fantasy-themed campaign online. There was a very giant monster that spanned 3 stories of a building that bled white. I had fun illustrating the scene using the Roll20 tools. My character was hitting the legs. Anyway, it looked like the monster jizzed itself to death, and it was very funny. This one requires some translation. While describing an enemy, mentioned they had an armadurota, a way to say really big clunky armor. The players start repeating it as, basically what I said, armadurota, which is really hard weapon. And they joked how the enemy was going everywhere with their big, hard weapon, all exposed. Well, like 10 minutes later, the NPC takes off their helmet, revealing it was a woman, and the entire table burst into laughter. No, we were not teens. Everyone at the table was in their late 20s, early 30s. My character was a craftsman who made something for a noble, took the final payment, and got adventuring gear. I was the only local, so the party stayed at my home. The bard never told us, but she was a princess on the run from an arranged marriage. At the time, she was the only lady in the party, so I gave her the master bedroom. So there's not a bard going around town singing songs about how I make women sleep in the common room with men. And I set up a hammock in the basement. Also, because out of character, we all knew her background, and I set this joke up months in advance. Oh no. At the gala celebrating the noble's new shiny thing that I was invited to for making the new shiny thing, my +1 gets introduced as a princess, with full titles and whatnot. So, a half hour later, we need a distraction, so in front of a bunch of mid-tier nobles, I say, "Princess, you've been in my home almost a month, and this is rather rude, but I've forgotten to ask after your needs. Do you find my bed up to your standards?" Well, her brother came to find her 2 days later because the rumors got home that fast. Lucky for us, because the mercenaries that wanted to kidnap her showed up 2 days after that. Our fighter gave up his chair for our wizard and squatted at the table in full plate because his seagull took his chair. This was the first time they met. Wizard missed the first session. Our wizard, in a perfect British accent, we're 4 duchies and a French person, told the fighter, "That is kind of you. Is it because you're such a helpful soul, or is this a special occasion?" My, now dead and maybe controlled by the big bad evil guy character, a lizard folk Barb, and our human wizard have had this running gag going that they are secret lovers. The last couple of sessions that my character was alive, he had connected with his dad on a somewhat personal level for the first time in his life. Dad was basically teaching my character new Beast Barb abilities, which was really fucking cool. My character's dad's name was Nakai. The wizard was called Malachi. On the very last session of my character's life, we had just gone to have our midway break, and I, as the player, said, "I'm so excited to learn new things from Daddy Malachi." I meant Nakai. I full-on slipped up. My DM was hyping up a new NPC for a boss battle. He said it was a character he had planned for years and years. He was so excited. It died in like 1 max damage hit. He was so crushed. We couldn't get over it. The party needed a distraction to get out of a not yet hostile town. My cleric cast Command Masturbate on a noble, giving a rabble-rousing speech on top of a wagon. No one even saw us leave. He also got arrested later. Public masturbation is not a victimless crime. In a tournament in the Hells, killing, optional and allowed, party all agreed to not kill our opponents. Well, most of us anyway. So the fight starts, we agree to fight a series of 1v1s. We instantly downed them every time because they were the Power Rangers and hadn't actually gotten their suits or however it works. got to the last guy. He was the leader, and he activates it. All of them back up at full health ready to fight. DM re-rolled initiative for the moment. One of us went first. Then me, the leader of the Rangers, I went and decided to do something smart. Wall of Force and trapped all the others in it. All 4 of them were in a line after all. The Red Ranger's turn. He jumped up, saw the party surrounding it, and fireballed the ground he stood on. Our Wildfire Druid saw this and knew it was his time to shine. Seeing an obvious target, he took a moment. Wall of Fire inside the Wall of Force. None of us were ready for that, least of all me. Took at least 10 minutes to actually get back from the laughter. Our party was in a city known as basically the crime center of the kingdom. We had a day before we could heist, so the wizard turns the fighter invisible, and the fighter goes down a street with a few people and says, "Hey, this is my street, go." DM says to roll for the outcome. Another player jokingly says if it's a nat 20, it starts a whole turf war. Dice is rolled. We see the 20 and all bust out laughing. The DM, after some laughing, says, "You know what? It starts a whole turf war. People come running in from all over the city to get in on this fight." So, I'm in a Saturday group that plays in a World War I setting, with 4 nations generally separated by races. The Draconic Dominion, DD, the Arcane Empire, AE, the LFR, and Maswania, M. The DD is obviously reptilian races such as Dragonborn and Kobolds and Half-Dragons and Full Dragons if you like being super special. In this nation, even being able to cast a cantrip makes you 1 in a million. The AE is almost exclusively humans, elves, and halves, and is the only nation to have arcane magic widespread, which means that healing magic is limited. LFR has just about every race and is very tech-heavy. This is where most of the World War I era tech is made, and even surpassed. M is the Bird Nation and the most religious, having divine magic aplenty and very active gods. My group all jumped to be DD soldiers. We were going to burn AE or die trying. Eventually, we meet some M people and find out that the AE started attacking them, in contrast to our starting a war with AE. And our party decides to request an alliance be made. Eventually, we are sent over to M to explore and deal with AE soldiers and generally, improve relations. Story for another day. We find out that LFR isn't as unified a federation as they'd like to be either. The LFR and M are right next to each other and, thus, chat with each other a lot. They are on good terms. Mostly. One of the reasons that the LFR is not united is a group of rebels, R, that want to break away to revive a dead nation that was absorbed into the LFR. These R are terrorists that stole a magic item from us to get our attention and force us to cooperate and meet with them in a secret base in the mountains. We bring along a ton of reinforcements to ambush the R. We walk inside, feigning interest in their promises, then battle breaks out. And we find out just how little the R care about their own lives, as one, inside of a tight base, pulls out an RPG and just fires it. The only reason the party is alive is because the DM doesn't want to kill us and looked for every possible way out, ultimately accepting a deal from another player to make his PC worse but allow the party to survive. The entire party, including me, was laughing hysterically and begging the DM to let us go out like this. Let my accidental harem protagonist PC leave 2 wives and 2 lovers in mourning. Let the chosen of Tiamat get their closure that they could not further her twisted goals. Let the wizard, whose abilities had previously been nerfed by Tiamat's curse and now are even worse due to the deal, die, and make a fully functioning character. But most of all, let it all be for the stupidest reason. A rebel threw away his life and the lives of at least a dozen other rebels just to get rid of 4 PCs and a bunch of NPCs. We set out to take down this base and show the rebels we wanted nothing to do with them and cut off the head of the snake, only for the snake to take us out with it by, pulling us off a cliff or something. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what moment threw your D&D group into fits of laughter. And if you ever want to support the channel and see us keep making videos, make sure to join our membership program. You get to feed us and put food on the table, while we still get to provide you great content like this. We love you all. Be safe, be happy. Toodaloo for now.